the word my mother heard more than any other. With his eyes shut, his head hunched forward, and his left arm outstretched, my father would shake his chair, shouting, "Help!" and hitting the wall behind him in a kind of syncopated drum and bass rhythm. Help, bang, help, bang, help, help, bang. He'd do this even when we were in the room and there was nothing visibly wrong. The call for help wasn't necessarily a demand for any particular object. My father just wanted some unspecified and in the end unrealisable help of some or all kinds. It was one of the only ways left he had to communicate with the world, and for that reason we shouldn't have begrudged him the word so much. Help! There were countless ways in which he could cry out the word. Desperate wail, psychopathic whisper, Wagnerian fortissimo, Puccinian heart-wrench, Gilbert and Sullivanian patter. Help, help, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. He tells you in urgency. Help, I need somebody. Banana Armenian farce. Help, help, bang, 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 bang. What do you want? I asked, looking over my shoulder at him from the piano, where I'm banging away myself without much more musicality. It's May 1995, and I'm cross. In a test conducted this morning on my father, he has failed to distinguish between a photo of me and a photo of Humphrey Bogart. This might have been flattering had he not gone on to mistake Bogart for a giraffe and ultimately everything for everything else. A doctoral student from Birmingham University has been visiting for months now, collecting data about my father's condition for a research paper. He didn't want to play today, says my mother, nonchalantly shoving a handful of pills into his mouth and pinning his head back with a glass of water. The student has left, but Mum is worried that my father's unwillingness to play will mess up the poor girl's research results. Last week he managed to identify the photos till he switched off, but today he just wasn't in the mood. I reassure him. The student probably wants bad results anyway. They'll make the research more interesting. And I'm right. Years later, after his death, I happened across the research paper the student published about my relationship with my father. It's called Delusional Misidentification, a neuropsychological case study in dementia associated with Parkinson's disease. In it, my father is case 1. There's no case 2. Uniqueness is built into Parkinson's. And I'm junior. Retrospectively, I found out case 1 suffered from a form of dementia called Lewy body disease, and a variant of Capgras syndrome, whereby he misidentified Junior and believed he was being impersonated or even taken over by a villainous double. I find it hard to grasp, but there are sections of the brain in the right hemisphere which are devoted to processing and recognising faces. For my father, one of the routes to the facial processor had become impaired by disease, and the result was that I was no longer me. Instead, the double, the body snatcher, who had villainously invaded my body, was a deputy at his old school, whom he hadn't got on with, to put it lightly. I had no conception of these things at the time, no knowledge of the theories or syndromes. I didn't even know who had so discourteously snatched my body, wasn't really aware that my body had been snatched, but then nor do people in science fiction films. I was merely aware that certain symptoms were happening, and I didn't recognise the person that he recognised as me. He was furious at me, shrank from me, shrieked for help when I was already trying to help, and I didn't know why. I just thought he was confused and took me from some generalised baddie, or worse, that he did recognise me and no longer liked what he saw. And I couldn't always blame him for that. Sometimes I didn't like the violent dictator his incessant helps teased out of me. Years later, over a croissant, I asked my mother why I was the one in particular whom he misidentified, and she told me it was because both the deputy and I had long, straggly hair. What a letdown, I think. What a paltry cause for something so bizarre, so science fictionish. I'd known that my father never liked my hippie hair, but not that it was a major cause of his delusions. Why didn't anyone tell me at the time? I could have easily had it cut to cure him, for God's sake. Meanwhile, back in May 1995, he pushes the glass violently away from his mouth with a grunt. "What was that for?" my mother demands. My father keeps pushing at her, bouncing up and down in the chair to get up. "It was him," he says, pointing at me. "He did it." "Don't be ridiculous and stop pushing me," says my mother. "I've got to finish making tea. You need to stay sitting for a while. Watch the television or you'll fall." "No, not while he's around." I can still remember the stress on any pronouns referring to me when he was in this frame of mind. Almost by definition, pronouns invite misidentification. They can so easily slip from one person to another and now allowing the mind to slip with them. My father never used real nouns when he was angry or paranoid. Now though, his anger has started trailing off into tiredness. "He's out to get me. I tell you what he was doing. He was..." A loud advert on the TV for conservatories supervenes, and he finishes his sentence with a peculiar accusation that I was building an Edwardian-style porch with double glazed. He yawns, we laugh, and within a few minutes he's sitting down on the chair again, drooling and snoring, whilst I crash away at the piano. He only wakes once to point and laugh at the pink goats he sees sitting next to my elbow, who are accompanying me with complex Wagnerian harmonies. Then there's a loud chariot race on the TV, and he comes to, muttering something over and over about a teacher collecting the school children from the playground. Eventually there's a crescendo to "Help, help, 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 help!" and it's more desperate, more insistent this time. "Help with what?" I ask, suspending my piano playing. "Help! You want help with help?" Facetious whining. "Go away, I don't want you. It's not you. What do you want?" Aggressive impatience. "I want your mum." Bang, 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 bang. "Stop doing that." I saunter over to him and move his hand back onto his lap. "Don't disturb her, she's busy." Authoritative self-righteousness. "Help! She's cooking tea. She can't come at your beck and call, you know." More self-righteousness. "Help, help, help! Help, help, help! Help!" He seems to lose his thread for a moment and then recovers it. "Help! Come on, Dad. Be reasonable." Pretend imploration. "No! Help, help, help! Get him away from me! Bang, bang, bang! Get the pupils in from break!" "You're at home, Dad. You've been retired years. You don't have to worry about school anymore." Patronising reassurance. "Help! Get that person away from me! Bang, bang, bang!" I take hold of his hand to stop its mechanical thumping of a door. He wraps his fingers around mine in a grip which would crack walnuts. So weak and clumsy and fragile, yet he has what the doctors call a prehensile grip, as if his out-of-control body is somehow flashing back to the strength of nut-cracking, tree-swinging gibbons. I can feel that grip now. Somehow, somewhere, the bruises remain. I want to go home. You're at home, in your own sitting room. I want to go home. Help, help! Oh, for God's sake, come on, Dad. As normal, I'm starting to laugh, and I don't know why. It's a kind of reflex action, no different to crying. I lose attention for a moment, glancing at the TV behind, letting my hand be crushed. Someone who was once well known as an ex-police chief is now less well known as a seller of remortgages for happy elderlies. What's going on here then? What are you up to, darling? Asks my mother as she comes in through the door, wiping her hands on an Isle of Man tea towel. It's always me. You always take his side. It's not me, it's him. That person. He jabs an accusing finger at me with his spare hand. That's Jonathan, your son, says my mother. No, it's not. Can't you see? It's that fraud playing tricks on me. Not knowing what reaction I should have, I laugh again. My father pushes at me, as if trying to expel whoever I am from his past. But he's unable to release his own grip, unable to let go of something he himself is grasping. It's this sod. That's what he is. I'm still laughing, and my laughter sends his fury spiralling upwards. His grip tightens. Sod! I don't hear language like that, my mother says. Help! Come on now, darling. Help! What do you want anyway? He doesn't want anything. I say this to wind my father up further, knowing it's not true. I want to go home. It's him. He's kidnapped me. I tell you, he's... His fury is too much to allow him to finish the sentence. Instead, he shouts, "It's him! Ever since he came to the school! Ever since he..." And he finishes the sentence by flailing at me again. He stares at me with wide-eyed paranoia. "Gosh, look at that face," comments my mother, and we both smile down at a face paralysed into a scowl. There's a silent horror movie from the 1920s where a clown is mutilated when young. Afterwards, all he can do is grin, even when he is murderously unhappy. Parkinsonism does the opposite, gradually petrifying your face muscles into those of a miserable, wrinkled, growling clown. It's what's known as masking. Day in, day out, my father had to watch us smiling and laughing whilst he couldn't join in. "It's him! I told you! It's him! One of your fancy men. You both had to get me. Kidnapped me. Bundled me away. Your fancy boy kidnapped me." "He's starting to hurt my hand," I say, out of embarrassment, trying to ignore what he's saying. "Let go, Dad. Let go of his hand now. Tell him to go away. I don't want him. I can't bloody well go away till you let go," I say, bending his fingers back off my wrist. His unsnipped fingernails dig into my palm. "Let go, darling. Come on, Dad. Let go. Let go, darling." My mother starts working on his fingers as well. Suddenly they snap away and my hand is free. Immediately he snatches back at the air, trying to grab the hand again. Instead of mine, he grabs my mother's wrist this time. "Ow, that hurts. Let go. Help!" "Let go, Mum. Let go, Mum, Dad. That hurts." "Let go, darling. That hurts me. Help!" "Let go of Mum, Dad." We're both peeling at his fingers now, trying to release the monkey grip. "Tell her to let go then." Laughter. "But you're the one that's doing it." My sister Helen comes in and starts peeling too. Everyone's joining in. "Let go. Let go. Let go, Dad. Come on, I've got to do tea. Let go." Even he's echoing the catchphrase now. "Let go, let go, let go, let go." But that doesn't mean he's actually releasing his grip. "Okay, do it then. Yes, let go, let go, let go." Every word, every phrase, everything had to be repeated over and over again to my father, just as my father himself repeated actions over and over again. I can't put down here the amount of repetition involved. It would be a waste of trees. But for the carers, as for the sufferer, Parkinson's and dementia seem to me to be all about repetition, and a repetition of repetition. For the patient, repetition is built into the diseases. As regards dementia, there's going to be a hell of a lot of repetition, since you've forgotten what you've said or what you've been told from one minute to the next. A million different moments might be cited as examples. "Where did you say my jumper with the reindeers on was?" "In the top drawer." Pause. "Where did you say my jumper with the reindeers on was?" "In the top drawer." Pause. "Have you found it yet?" "What?" "The jumper with reindeers on." "No, where is it?" "In the top drawer." "What's in the top drawer?" "The jumper with reindeers on." "Why the hell do I want a jumper with reindeers on?" "Because it's Christmas." "When's Christmas?" Similarly, in terms of Parkinson's, many of the neurological symptoms are based on automatic repetition. They are beautiful sounding names. Palilalia is the repetition of words. Palipraxia is a repetition of actions. Echopraxia is a repetition of other people's actions. And the most magical sounding of all, echolalia, is my father automatically repeating, "Let go, let go, let go, let go," after we've said it to him a dozen times. It was only recently, by reading Oliver Sacks's book Awakenings, that I myself found out that these are recognised neurological symptoms. Back in 1995, I just thought my father was suffering from a well-known symptom called pain in the arse aria. Since finding out the official names of the symptoms though, I've started seeing palilalia, palipraxia, echopraxia and echolalia everywhere. In infirmaries, on phones, in parks, symphonies, novels, poetry festivals. Looking back to 1995, these compulsive repetitions certainly echoed from patient to carers and back again. Lift him up, sit him down, lift him up, sit him down, and twist his emaciated legs, relax his shaking arms, and twist his legs, relax his arms, make him drink some pop, make him eat some food, make him drink some pop, teeth in, teeth out, teeth in, sit him up, sit him down, lift him up, and so on and so forth, as if the carers reflect a patient in a hall of echolalias and echopraxias. A simple let go or stand up becomes let go, let go, let go, let go, or stand up for fuck's sake, stand up.